Are you looking to learn how to make jumbo dryer balls? If so, then you're on the right video because today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know and more. And welcome to today's video, how to make jumbo dryer balls, a felted wool DIY. My name is Iceland, your fiber artist host, and on this channel, Snowflake Forest Felting, I share needle felting videos, have needle felting tutorials like this one, and have product reviews from time to time. So if you're new and this interests you, please consider subscribing. And if you want to know more about anything you see here on this channel, be sure and check the links in the description below this video or leave a comment. I'd love to connect with you there. So to start, I'm going to show you everything you need to make these. The first item you're going to need is wool in the color of your choice. You're also going to need the essential oil of your choice, and I'm going to go with peppermint, a bowl, some soap, a pair of scissors, extra towels, and then this is a very important part. You're going to need some yarn for the inside of your dryer ball, and it's important to get yarn that is 100% wool. I found these on Etsy, and the reason you want to use wool is because it entangles itself. If you use an acrylic fiber and your dryer balls for some awful reason decide to come apart, it could make a huge mess in your dryer. And remember, I'll have all this stuff linked in the description below for you guys. And then an apron as well if you're wanting to protect your clothing during the wet felting process. And then you're also going to need your sink that has warm and cold running water. Now let's get to felting. We're going to begin by preparing our balls of yarn. So this is a pretty simple process. You're going to want to find the end. Make sure it's coming around from the outside, not from the inside, or you'll end up with a big knot. Then you're going to lay it across your fingers here. I like to start with 3 and then hold the end with your thumb and then just start wrapping it around your fingers. Not too tight so you don't cut off your circulation. Now once you've got a little chunk, go ahead and pull it off your fingers. A little more yarn. And the thicker yarn that you guys can find to do this, the better it's going to be, or more so quicker to say, for making your ball larger. And then just start wrapping it like so in the opposite direction. And once that gets pretty thick, you're going to want to flip it, and then you're going to start wrapping it some more. And then you can kind of just start spinning it like this in any direction and trying to create a true ball shape. Excess yarn, and then start wrapping it again, and just continue this process until your ball is as large as you want it to be. Just like that, super simple. Depending on how much yarn you got is going to depend if you need your scissors to actually cut it and not use all your entire amount of yarn. However, I think this is actually going to be pretty perfect for me and the size that I am looking for in my jumbo wool dryer balls. The key here is going to be to constantly be moving the ball around in your hands as you're spinning it so you don't get a lopsided ball. Once you get to the end, just tuck that end nice down and deep inside like so. And that's just going to make an awesome size wool dryer ball. If the wool yarn you found is not enough once you get your ball made, you can go ahead and just tuck this down inside as well. And continue wrapping it around the same process to get it your desired size. I want 2 here, and this is my desired size. So I'm going to repeat the same process with this one. Again, I'm going to lay it across 3 of my fingers, pinch it with my thumb, and start wrapping it. Opposite, and then into a ball. Don't unwind too much yarn at once or you'll end up with a tangled mess right there. Holding it like this, just very loosely, helps guide it through. Another reason to use wool yarn is because wool is fairly light and you don't want anything heavy just clunking around in with your clothes in the dryer. Again, tuck your end nice down and deep inside your ball, and there you go, just like that. You've got two ready to almost go. So now the next step is you're going to want a generous amount of wool. I want my colors fairly meshed together, so I'm going to start the meshing process, which is basically just pulling all the colors apart, and depending on how meshed you want your colors is going to depend on how much you pull the wool apart. Then you can take big handfuls and pull them like this. Start to get them mixed up amongst each other. Alright, and now we're ready to begin the wet felting process. So let's move to the sink. I like to get my sink set up with a towel on each side of it. Then in your bowl, get cold or warm water depending on what you're going to use for running water. I'm going to use warm in my bowl and have cold running. Alright, now you're going to take your first dryer ball and a handful of the wool. Split it about in half, one for each one, and then you're going to want to cover the ball with it. This will take a generous amount of wool considering these are jumbo sized, and you really want to get that yarn covered, and once you get your wool wet it will shrink up in the felting process. Alright, now you can go ahead and dunk it into your warm water, or just rinse it under the tap if you're doing running warm. This is going to seem kind of awkward because the wool is just going to act like it wants to fall apart. Now take some of your soap, drizzle it on, and slowly begin to spread that soap around your wool ball. This is going to start to help to make it stick and felt. Just very gently bat it back and forth between your hands. Water if you need. If you have any pieces that are being stubborn, you can try and pull them apart a little bit and add them back on. And then just continue doing this. Back and forth in your hands. Roll it a little bit. I'll need to get my soap moved around a little more through the ball. Add a hint on this side. There we go. Water. So you get a really nice lather going. I like to roll it like this. And this process should take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. Possibly longer, just depending on if you're possibly using wool roving or wool batting, or the type of wool that you're using, because different sheep make different types of wool, and some wools just felt better than others. Then you can take a little cold water, rinse some of that soap out, but not all of it. The alternating cold and hot is really what will help felt the wool down and shrink it around your ball of yarn. Dash it back down into your warm water and make that lather happen again. If you wash too much soap off, just add a hint more. So wool dryer balls are super eco-friendly. They'll help your clothes dry faster, and they'll even help with de-wrinkling and any static electricity that's happening in your dryer too. And if you're adding the essential oils, they'll help disperse the oil around your laundry, making it smell nice and fresh. So I love to use these on my towels or with the bed sheets. And you can even do essential oils depending on the type of season. Alright, just keep repeating this process until your wool is completely entangled and felted super solid. Really, the trickiest part about felting your wool balls is going to be when you first begin to wrap the wool around it. If you have any spots that are showing that you want to cover, just go ahead and add a little bit of wool to those spots. It'll seem like it doesn't want to attach at first, but if you just keep up the process, it eventually will felt. I'm going to set this one aside and get my other one going here. I'm going to dunk it down in the water. That wool. Drizzle the soap around it and repeat that same process of just batting it back and forth. Keep the wool spread around your yarn ball. Squeezing it helps. The gentle back and forth, just kind of a rocking of it. Sometimes you have to train the fibers which direction you want them to go. Just like so. Smooth it all nice and out. And now that you have both of them, you can even alternate between the two of them and felting them. Cold water, back in a warm water dunk, and start felting it again. Alright, once your balls are all felted, you can go ahead and rinse them with some cold or warm water. I like to do a little bit of both. And then gently squeeze it out, and you can set it aside to dry, or they can be thrown into the dryer to be used right away. If you end up throwing them in the dryer right away, just be sure to throw them in with some towels. That's the best way to dry them. Alright, now that your felted dryer balls are done, the final step is to apply your essential oil, and you're just going to add a couple drops onto the top of each one, and they are ready to use. And then here's a final look at mine up close. Alright, that's it. That's everything you need to know to make jumbo felted dryer balls, and you can be a fiber artist too. If you decide to make these, be sure and drop it down in the comments below, or better yet, tag me, post your stuff online. I love seeing your creations. We have a really awesome felting community here. It's so awesome, I can't even begin to express it to you guys. Also, don't forget, if there's something you think I should make, drop it down in the comments below and I might just make it. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!